Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for joining Kim-Adeline and myself on this session about mapping your career journey. This is an event hosted by the Toronto Reactor, but you might be joining us from a couple of other locations and time zones. So thanks for making the time. We'll have this talk about 20 minutes and have some time at the end for Q&As. So if you have any questions for Kim-Adeline, please post them in the Q&A section, and then we'll take them all up at the end. So this session is about managing your career, about being happy at work, and moving your career in a direction that makes you happy. We'll share 4 actionable tips so that you can own your journey, whichever stage of your career that you're at. Kim-Adeline is a software engineer at Microsoft, and she works on the Python extension for VS Code. Before that, she dabbled with parallel programming in Singapore and worked as a front-end engineer in Denmark and in Vancouver. And she likes to do a bunch of things like have succulents, hold crow poses, and use emojis. So I'll let her take it from here. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. And thank you everyone for having me today. So as Ivan said, I am a software engineer at Microsoft. I work on the Python extension at VS Code. I've been at Microsoft for a bit more than a year now. And as you heard, I've been a little bit all over the place. And I came up with this talk because as I was moving along with my career and changing companies and hopping around, so I slowly realized that I had the luxury of being able to choose what I wanted to do with my work life. And I didn't really need to go with the flow. So in this, approximately 20-minute talk, I will have like 4 pieces of career advice that would have saved me some hopping around and some headaches when I was changing jobs. So this talk will be about what you can do to make the most of your career journey. It's not going to be about how to game the system to join Microsoft. I'm not the best person to talk about that because I've failed my first interview around at Microsoft, or it's not going to focus on like politics or organizational hurdles, but more on what you can do to drive your own career. But before that, I wanted to say that you do you. We all different, and what works for me might not work for you. So even though I'm going to have like 4 points in this talk, I hope that even if they're not helpful to you, if they end up not working for you, then at least that they serve as a reminder for you to have like a better idea of where you want to take your career and what you want to do with it. So the 4 points of this talk, I'm just showing them now so you can see them now and hop off if you want to. So first point I'm going to talk about is about having a plan. And then it's about telling people about your plan and your goals. Then the third point is going to be about building resilience in the face of rejection and failure. And the fourth point will be about your own imposter syndrome. So that's it. That's what we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about. So first point is having a plan. So in its essence, it means what would make you happy? What do you want to do? And if you don't know what would make you happy, then what would make you unhappy? Then like just start narrowing down what you don't want to do. Some ways to figure that out are like, for example, are there events or initiatives at your workplace or around you that you would like to join or that you like joining and being part of? Like, are there meetups like this one or communities you like being a member of, or tech blogs you like to read, or some tech that you're interested in looking in? Like what do you like and what do you not like? Then also like not just tech skills, but interpersonal skills. Like, do you have a mentor? You could talk about it with a little bit about that later as well. Are you a mentor? And do you have access to a wide variety of different perspectives? What does your network look like? Who do you want to have in your network? What do you want more in your network? Like take a look at where you are and what's all around you, and if there's anything you want more of. Then there's also some research that you can do on yourself, like figuring out your core values, like what you stand for, and if your role aligns with them. And if your role doesn't, then what do you want to do? Do you want to try adding some more of what you want into your current job? or do you want to try looking for something new, right? So once you got a list, once you narrow down what you want and what you don't want, then you can start making a plan on how to do things and how to get towards what you want to do more. But the plan doesn't have to be detailed. Like, it can just be the general direction in which you want to move your career, a certain skill, or just like adding more of a certain value that you have. So for example, if we take this talk, I want to learn how to communicate confidently because I believe this is going to help me in getting a promotion. And one way to practice that is to do some public speaking and by giving talks. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today. Thank you for helping me practice my communication. So when you have your plan, it's helpful to set milestones like short-term, mid-term, and longer term. So like short-term would be like the next couple of weeks, a month, and then mid-term and longer term would be like further along, like a few years in your career or further away. So like just, to set some deadlines and hold yourself accountable for what you want, because if it's a plan without milestones, then it's just wishful thinking. Just remember that people and environments change, so your goals don't have to be set in stone, and they don't have to be like super hard, because you're just going to disappoint yourself with that. Like, be realistic. So if you need practice, then the first step is to practice. Like, my goal is to climb the ladder, and I'm not like an expert communicator, so I'm not going to say, okay, next week I'm going to ask for a promotion. Also because it doesn't work like that. So for example, I recently had a conversation with a friend who wants to move from project management to being a developer, but she doesn't have much developer experience. So she's brushing up her skills in her spare time while still doing her job. And that's actually pretty exhausting. Just brushing up on tech skills is exhausting when having to do that on top of your job. I don't know how she does that. And I'm sure many people do that, but I know I wouldn't. In any case, job search is exhausting. And I mean, the world is exhausting in itself. And so this was taking a toll on her. So she set herself a deadline that if she hasn't found anything by the end of the year, then she's going to revise her goal. And instead of looking for a new job, like a dev job, she's going to look for opportunities where she are right now to be able to add more dev work in her daily routine. So this is like moving towards what she wants, but it doesn't have to be a completely radical change, right? So this just means that things change, our environments change, and our goals can change. Like, it's not, you're not going to be a failure if you decide that something is not the way you want it to be, and your goalpost has to change. Just like if you change it too often, then what are you really looking for? So set a plan, but be flexible and realistic, because things change around us. Then the next slide, so the next bullet point I want to talk about is about telling people about your goals. And that's not just for accountability purposes. So first, like, tell people you trust, and more importantly, tell people who are willing to listen to what you tell them, because you can just tell to the wind and nobody's going to pay attention to it, and it's just not going to be helpful, right? So tell people you trust. They will be your cheer squad. They will be there to like support you. Also remember to tell colleagues or people around the same level as you, because since they're about the same level, then you face somehow the same hurdles, you have the same goal in mind. So like, you're all learning together and sharing experiences, and you can like relate to each other because you're at the same like step, right? They are also part of your support network, because they know what you're going through. Then also tell people who are where you want to be, kind of like role models, right? So if we take back if we go back to my public speaking endeavors, I reached out to a cloud developer advocate to hear about her writing experience and her public speaking experience, because she's used to interacting with the developer community and giving talks and all that stuff that I want to learn about communication. And she not only agreed to me setting up a meeting to talk about her experience, but she also helped me with some talk proposals that I sent. Like, thanks to her, I had the talk accepted at the PyCon earlier this year. So these people who are where you want to be, learn what worked for them and also what didn't work for them, so that you don't make the same mistakes, right? And try to just be a knowledge sponge, absorb the knowledge, right? Because they can help you, and you will never know if you never ask, right? But then also tell your management team, tell your manager, and sometimes your skip about your goals, because management will usually listen to you, because that's what a good manager should do, because they want to keep you. You're doing your job. It would be expensive to replace you. So they want to keep you. They want you to be happy, or at least content or satisfied at your job, and they want you to experience growth, because as my skip put, if I'm unhappy at my job, then they will try to find me a position on the same team, if not in the org, if not in Microsoft in general, because again, if you leave, then they'll have to retrain somebody else, then they have to rebuild all the trust that they had with you. So it might be a bit sad to see this, but they want to keep you because you're expensive. Anyway, tell your management chain about it, tell your manager, tell your skip, and carve time for regular one-on-ones. So for example, I have weekly one-on-ones with my manager, and I have one-on-ones every 6 weeks with my skip. I do realize that not everybody has the luxury of setting up regular one-on-ones, but in that case, just easier said than done. But set it, like, ask them, book time with them, like take the initiative to actually schedule some time so you and them can talk about your goals, so you can keep them updated on your progress, your wishes, and also your expectations, again, because it's supposed to be a mutually beneficial relationship. They're supposed to help you grow, and at the same time you give them feedback on what you want in order to grow, right? And they're also here to help you and provide guidance. Like, for example, I told my manager about public speaking, and he's the one who suggested I reach out to that cloud developer advocate, because I had no idea it was okay for me to just say hi on Teams to them, right? So they can use their knowledge and their network to help you. And also, just building up on that, don't stop yourself from asking for things, right? Like, for asking for guidance, or asking for opportunities, or asking in general, right? Like, they can say yes, they can say no, or they can say maybe later. So if they say yes, cool, then you do your stuff, and then you come back later, you tell them about your progress. If they say no or maybe later, then just ask why no, right? Like, what is the reasoning behind that, and reflect whether it's worth asking again. Like, if it's maybe later because it's not a priority now, then you can be like, okay, and then just ask again in like 6 months or so. Or you can also try like a different route. Like, if it doesn't work and if it's a hard no, then sit down and think a little bit about yourself, and is it worth it for you to stay here? But that's kind of the nuclear option, because it's going to be like, it's going to start, then you're going to be unhappy, then you're going to have to start to look for something else, and looking for something else, especially right now, is a very heavy burden, right? Also, when people say no, it's not an all or nothing game. Like, if they say no, it doesn't mean, oh my God, I should never ask again, right? It's just no right now. So don't take the no like personally, right? And that's a lesson that I only learned recently, and only learned with therapy sessions, because I used to be like, oh, if somebody said no, then I'm like super ashamed, and I don't ever want to show my face ever again. But no, it's not a no against you. It's just what you want is not our priority right now. It's like, it's not about you. This leads me to my next point, that rejection is like tough, like you feel shame and stuff like that. So that's why we need to build resilience, so that you don't get crushed every time people say no, because people will say no very often, right? So in this slide, build resilience, I'm going to talk about the F word that I mentioned earlier, failure, right? So talking about failure and rejection. Well, first let's talk about rejection and a little bit of a personal story again. So a couple of weeks ago, I asked my manager if we could prioritize a feature that I thought was important, but he said no, because it's not important at the moment. And when that happened, I got really upset for a couple of days, and actually got a little bit like bummed out. But then thinking back about it, and also after a therapy session, it turned out that the feelings of rejection and shame were what caused this reaction. I was like, okay, fine, I'm never going to ask anything ever again. Like I took it personally, but it was not personal. It was not against me. It's just what I was asking, right? So it's difficult, but you have to start disassociating what you want from yourself, right? So like what he said no to was not no against me. It was just a no to what I wanted. Anyway, it's easier said than done, of course. So like whenever people say no, or whenever you make a mistake and you have like negative feelings coming onto you, like rejection, shame, and other like bad emotions like this, like pause and like try to pause and reflect on why you reacted that way and how it affected you, and hopefully it can help you like know yourself better, right? So that was a story of rejection. Now, in terms of failure, well, on the Python extension for VS Code, 1 month into the job, I made a change. Like it was like a change in how we handle indentation in the extension, except that it broke a couple of things that we didn't catch. Well, just a few hours after the release, like users were rightfully complaining, but they were vocally complaining about it. Then like our issue tracker was flooded with people saying everything's broken, everything's the worst, I'm never going to use your extension again, and you know, stuff like that. And when you're 1 month into the job, it's like, oh my goodness, am I done here? Is that the end of my short-lived career at Microsoft? Well, it was fun while it lasted. Like I was not having fun when that was happening. But anyway, I'm still here today to tell the story. So clearly that's not the end of the story, right? So this happened. What did we do? Well, we rolled back to a previous version of the previous version of the release, which didn't have this change. We held a post-mortem to see what went wrong without casting blame, right? Just like, what didn't we do? And what can we do better next time? And after we did that, users moved on. Like then that was it. We undid the change and users moved on, the team moved on. I didn't get laid off, and now I'm just breaking other things on a regular basis, hopefully less visible. Nothing that the product, anyway, I'm rambling. But in any case, it just means that we make mistakes. It's okay. We have to make mistakes to learn. You can't always learn that without ever making mistakes. We're not perfect, right? So if you make a mistake, what's the worst that could happen, right? And when you tell yourself what's the worst that could happen, try to make peace with it. So even if I were laid off, then oh well, then maybe I wouldn't have wanted to work for a company that lets me go after one mistake. So right, so try to make peace with what's like the worst that could happen. Also, because usually it's your inner self that tells you that, like it's not actually what's going to happen. But also like making mistakes a lot and stuff like that, then it means it takes you out of your comfort zone. Then you have to, sure, you have to be out of your comfort zone to grow, but still, if you do that too often, it can be stressful, it can be overwhelming, then you just end up being lost and you're like, what am I, right? Like, why am I failing all the time? So go at a sustainable pace. Like, don't put yourself out of your comfort zone too much, right? Like, just balance it, especially now more than ever that nothing's all right at the moment. So you have to especially balance it right now. So even though there's and sure, you should go at a sustainable pace, but also just as the world is showing us right now, not everything is under your control. So the world, but also like other teams or your management, like maybe your management has other priorities, and all of this has an influence on the situation you're in. So don't beat yourself up if something is not going the way you want, right? Like a lot of it relies on acceptance and what you can do to try to change it. But yeah, just be aware that it's not just you, right? And with that, imposter syndrome, because it's not just like you're not the only factor in here, right? But at the same time, if you feel that you will not get where you want to be, or you don't deserve it, like you don't deserve where you are because others deserve it more, then it's okay to feel like this, right? Like, and it's a feeling that never really goes away, really, right? There will be times where this feeling is stronger than other times, like there are highs and lows, of course, ups and downs, and really you can't really expect you to always be 100% like super cheery and yeah, I'm totally going to do this and super productive, like again, especially now more than ever. So when you're not okay, like acknowledge your feelings. Like it's okay to not be okay. Like don't bottle your feelings. Don't let it build up. Like try to let them out. Like talk to somebody you trust. Write them down in the journal. Just go outside and like scream them like to the seaside or to the sun or something, right? Like just don't let them build up, because it's just a recipe for a disaster. But also like the way you talk to other people also reflects somehow the way you feel, and it works the other way too. Like the way you see other people talk also helps you. Like how many times have you had a friend who was like very bummed out and they kept being negative, and it just starts bringing you down as well. So the other way around, try to use like reinforced positivity to shift your mindset a little by little. Just like, of course, there are times that will call for an apology, and we're also apologizing a lot as Canadians. But anyway, if you take a step back and look at all the times you said sorry, like what were you sorry for? Like, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. Well, thank you for waiting for me, right? Try to say thank you instead of sorry, because it's not, then it doesn't make it just about yourself, but you also take into account the person you're talking to. Like, thank you for waiting for me, or oh, I'm sorry I'm rambling. Well, thank you everyone for listening to my talk, or you know try to shift a little bit, because then your mindset is going to become a little bit more positive, right? And I find it helpful, at least. But sometimes you feel like, I feel that the struggle is just never ending. Like, where am I going? What am I doing? Is there any end to it? Well, retirement, but still. But anyway, I feel that reflecting on my journey and looking at how far I am compared to how far where I started. Like when I started university, I almost got kicked out of the program because my grades were so bad. And right now I have like a stable job and I get to talk to everyone here. And that's definitely something I didn't expect, right? So like reflecting on where you are compared to where you started, but also looking to the future, looking forward to the next step of your journey, and like being motivated about it somehow, right? Like again, reinforce positivity and all that. And also in terms of positivity, for example, I also keep a journal of all the things I did this week, not necessarily in terms of like actual coding, but just generally like if I talked to somebody on a different team, or if I helped organize something, just keep track of what you did. So not only you can see that you were actually doing something, like you didn't just spend your time sitting here, just like listening to a talk, but keeping track of what you do also helps with your performance reviews. Then you can say, hey, I did this, and that in the past couple of months. And also in terms of keeping a journal, I also keep a feel-good page journal where I paste all the nice things that people say to me. Oh, thank you for your help, it was great. Or thank you for pointing out this thing to me because I didn't see it. Or just, general shout outs that people have to me because, well, I'll take any encouragement that people throw at me. And so I feel that having this feel-good page helps grounding me down and remember that it's not just people complaining and people being unhappy with what you do. So yeah, be generous in giving thanks and be generous to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Yeah, that's just it. Be kind to yourself because we need it. We all need it, right? And that was it. So if you were busy thinking about everything I just talked about, or just admiring my expert use of emojis, so this is the slide to remember with the 4 points, right? So remember to have a plan. It doesn't have to be very detailed, but also remember that things might not always go exactly according to your plan, and it will evolve with you. And then also remember to tell people about your goals and leverage others, like leverage your network for opportunities to work on these goals. Then third point was to build resilience, like it's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. You will be fine. We will all be fine. Like acceptance, right? Making peace with them. And last but not least, acknowledge imposter syndrome, right? What you see in others is not like they also probably feel imposter syndrome, and you are putting in the work, so you also deserve a slice of the cake, and you also deserve to have a fulfilling career. Thank you everyone for listening to these past like 20-25 minutes. I might have gone a little bit longer, and yeah, you can find these slides at ak.ms/mapping-career-journey. And now I will take a look at questions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kim-Adeline. We have one question. I know there's a couple of comments that might get lost in the thread, but a question from Avi is, thanks for this session. Any advice for students who are about to jump into the career world?
I mean, what worked for me really, is there anything you're interested in? Like, I guess if let me just go back to that slide. This slide, right? So is there anything you're interested in? Is there anything you don't want to? Like, I have student mentees who actually asked a similar question. And they were like, I'm interested in machine learning, let's say. So do you have any, like, did you take any courses? Like, let's take the machine learning example and just replace with whatever topic you're interested in. Like, did you have any machine learning courses? Is there any, like, do you know some of those concepts, right? Like, is there, are there any blog posts that you read? Are there any like Twitter accounts that you follow? Like, do you have some knowledge about it? And then you can try like narrowing down the fields and the companies at which you want to apply to. And joining meetups is also a good thing. Like, if you join, again, a machine learning oriented meetup, then you're more like, there's a higher chance of you meeting people who would open doors to you to find a job that would be lining up with your interests. If you don't have any interest in particular, kind of where I started, I just took whatever people threw at me, which was a web development job, and just see where it goes. And maybe if you end up liking it, then that's cool. Just keep going. If that's not cool, well, start looking for something else. I also feel that setting some deadlines, I was talking about my friend who's looking for a dev job, setting deadlines also kind of helps, because then you're kind of if you don't have a deadline, you're kind of in a like in-between situation where you don't really know where to go. You don't really have any like purpose, right? So sometimes also saying, okay, I want to find something, let's say by the end of the year, also helps a little bit. I hope that was helpful.
Thanks, Kim-Adeline. We have, a minute left in the call now, but I just wanted to quickly plug that we have a survey available. So if you have any feedback on the event today or the content that presented, and if you'd like more content like this, we'd love to hear your feedback. I've just posted the link in the Q&A section. If you could take that, that'd be extremely helpful. And then just 2 more questions if you have time to take them up really quickly. From Martin, they asked, how many programming languages does one need to know for a good career? And then the second question was, what's your path to working on VS Code? It's such a cool product.
Cool. Okay. Here, the first one, how many programming languages does one need to know for a good career? Well, it depends. Earlier in my career, I knew how to code in Objective-C and a little bit of Python because I was also working on iOS apps. But right now, I only code in TypeScript, like JavaScript, TypeScript. So, I mean, 1 is enough. I'd say 1 is enough if you're good at it. I feel that knowing 1 and knowing 1 or 2, I guess, really well is better than knowing a lot. Especially when you start, it's easier to focus your energy on one programming language and actually know how to use it. And as you climb later in your career, then you see some of the concepts, you can just apply those same concepts to another language, right? It's like learning a language to speak and to write, right? Like you use one really well, and then later the knowledge, like the grammars and all those concepts, you can use them to help you learn other languages. So I think just focusing on 1 and 2 is enough. And then if you get to learn a few more later, then that is fine. But you don't have to know like 15 different ones. Like if you ask me to write something in Java, I wouldn't know. And does that make me a bad engineer? I don't think so. My imposter syndrome might say yes, but I will tell myself no. And then the second one was my path. So I started as a web developer. I did some Django applications, so like web and a little bit of Python for the backend. And I did iOS apps for like a couple of years. So mostly Objective-C, not even the fancy like new Swift apps, but old school Objective-C, where I had to kind of manage my memory myself. But then there was a networking event back in the day when we still had like in-person events, right? And there was a recruiter at Microsoft who was there. And interestingly, I made a point not to go see them because they already had so many people lining up. So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna go see all of the other companies because I was looking for a job at that time. But then I guess they mass reached out to everybody who showed up to the event, like, hey, I saw that you signed up for the event. And then first I ignored it. And then 2 weeks later, they sent a reminder email, hey, we sent you an email 2 weeks ago. And then I looked at the job posting that was in the email. I was like, okay, that might be worth a try. And then I interviewed. I failed my interview. And then they said, like, I failed it at the last step because there were some people who were more technically proficient than me. Back to the question about knowing languages, right? And then they were like, but let's keep in touch anyway. I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think this is going to work. But in any case, I just kept looking at the Microsoft website and I saw another opening in Vancouver and then I reached out to the recruiter and said, hey, you said we could keep in touch. So here I kept in touch. And did you think I would fit here? And then they were like, sure, let's give it a try. And this interview round went better. And that's where I am right now. So yeah, it started with a failed interview.
Amazing. Well, I feel like we're a couple minutes over time now. So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to reach out to Kim-Adeline separately on social media or just reach out to me and I'll forward them to her. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. If you could take the survey link, that's great. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.